Hi, my name is Sam Price, and welcome to the Crypto Lifer Corner, baby. Every single Friday, I do a macro technical analysis video where I break down Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, S&P futures, gold, silver, the DXY, and more. Even the S&P futures and the NASDAQ, which we called last week for a beautiful pump, and it happened just as we called it. Let's take a look. We're going to start off with BTC first on the macro. We're going to be looking at the monthly and taking it down, and then we're going to show you what we see. And this is so you don't get caught up with the smaller time frames, and you're able to see the big picture and trade big money, man. Let's take a look at what's happening here today on the market. So Bitcoin at 7707. Hey, always on the sevens with me. One thing I want to show you is every single time Bitcoin is broken out of any type of top trend line on the monthly, it is never faked out. Like, it has never made a giant green candle, turned it red, and then dump. If it closed the candle outside of the level, it's been a major pump. And so in about 6 days, on April 30th, we're going to find out when this candle closes. And if it closes outside of the line, I mean, to me, it's been 100% accurate before. Maybe this will be the first time it's not, but it's telling us we're at least going to go towards resistance there at 83,000 at the very least. And then if we get above resistance, it says we can get to 93K. We get above there, we can get to 102,000. So we'll take it one step at a time. The first level we have to break through is about 81, 82K. So, but it's telling us that that's likely going to happen if this closes bullishly in 6 days. So macro right there for Bitcoin, very bullish sign. All right. And definitely suggests that there could be a bigger move. I look at the 5-day chart. Every time the 5-day has gotten above the 200 moving average, right there, right there, and right there. It even happened way back in the past 2 other times on the all-time history index. Every time I've seen that, we've got a major move to the upside for Bitcoin. So this time may be different, but so far it's telling us that's a giant close. It actually could end up being the beginning of a massive move for BTC. I look at the daily, and the daily is just the level that I'm really watching right now. What I look at here on the daily is the fact that we're in this like rising wedge. Also was in between on the fact that this was the rising wedge, and right now we are just kind of dabbling with possibly retesting the top trend line. And you put a support and resistance line here. So you can say as long as the daily doesn't close below 77,000, we have a better idea that Bitcoin could break out, right? And then even on the smaller pattern, you know, if you make this a little tighter, you can turn this into a tighter rising wedge. Now, rising wedges do break down, but the fact that this is getting bought up, Michael Saylor keeps just ripping the supply out. It's telling you that people are FOMOing, and it seems macro to me. I'd like to see this break out, but I do see a bear div there, and it could definitely break down. And today we're waiting to see what can happen. If tonight this closes red, you got to start thinking we're going to come down at least to test 73.8 right there, or that level right there in between at about 75,000. So that's what I'm looking for Bitcoin. I want to see it stay up. I want to see the daily stay above 77. I want to see the 21 come into price action. And then the last thing that I've been watching is just the 4-hour to me is in a bull flag, right? And we'll clean this up for you. I know we have, because on the bigger time frames, pattern shift because the candle bodies are not the same. Don't let that discourage you. Keep keeping things conform and tight, and you'll be right as rain. But look, to me, that's a bit of a bull flag, right? Every time I've seen a flag like this on the 21 with low stochastics, we've got a pretty big move. However, it could be kind of an Adam and Eve here and take a dump down. I could see it. A level that I am looking for there is about 76,005 on the 4-hour. If you draw a fib, you can see we come right down to this block at 76.5. It's a place where we could get a nice bounce to the upside possibly. But I'm still long right now looking for Bitcoin to stay inside this flag and pump, at least take out the high here and get to the top of the range at around $80,000. But it could go either way. Be careful. All right. But the macro looks pretty bullish for BTC. Next, I want to look at the total market cap in all of cryptocurrency. And honestly, it's almost like no need to do it because it has so much with what Bitcoin's doing. And, you know, we're watching this exact same level here too again, and we're looking for this flag to break out. You know, levels that you're looking for, same idea here on the daily and the weekly. You also did the breakout. This is exactly like Bitcoin. So it's really, I'm not going to redo it. You know, you can see you're basically breaking out on the weekly. The monthly has a beautiful breakout. The candle's almost a little bigger on total here on the monthly, right? But the same idea that you've broken out of this key level. If you pull a Fibonacci from this wick all the way up, we've retested to the 618 Fibonacci level, which is a known retracement, very healthy. The macro looks bullish. We just got to figure out this daily price action here. For me, it's just about staying the same thing. Stay above $2.54 trillion. We get our bigger move to the upside. We look for this daily to break out of a rising wedge, go parabolically out the move. So I'm looking for the punch to the upside, right? That's what I'm looking for. I know that they may retrace it, and if it does, it's likely coming back to the 21 and somewhere here around 2.64. But as long as we stay above this resistance, we have a chance for a massive breakout. We're in the big range too as well. I like what I'm seeing. We look at total 3. Total 3 is the entire market cap of all the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this is the same thing. What I like about total 3 is it's not as wedged. It's more inside of a symmetrical triangle. Like if you bring this to probably the 8-hour or the 12-hour, yeah, you're going to see, I mean, that's tight. And when the 21 gets really close, and honestly, that has cup and handle vibes. The handle doesn't always have to be a falling wedge. It can be just a sideways flag, but that is a cup and handle. And that tells me that we could get a big move all the way likely up to about $819 billion in these altcoins. So if Bitcoin grips and then goes sideways above 80K or at 80K and stays above 79, the altcoins are going to get liquidity and they're going to run. People are going to finally breathe that Bitcoin may be entering a bigger bull run, and they're going to believe that the altcoins also are going to pump. So that's going to put the altcoins on the map. Next thing you want to look at is Bitcoin dominance. Last week we told you to watch it. It was going to pump. I said the altcoins probably aren't going to be your thing. It's going to be Bitcoin. Bitcoin pumps first. If you remember me saying that specifically. For the altcoins you want to see, fine, sorry. For the altcoins you want to see a pump, right? Eventually, and to get that, you're going to have to get Bitcoin dominance. Maybe comes up here and makes a right shoulder. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. But the first thing that has to happen is Bitcoin has to take dominance. Go up, go up, go up. Then we're going to see distribution into the altcoins. If we get to 80K, into 90, this is all going to play out. Like this is all going to start panning out. And so far it's doing exactly like it should. Let's take a look at tether dominance. That should be collapsing, and it is, right? We want to see that make an M pattern, and we want to see the M dump. You see, I said I don't want to see us make this flag. I said I want to see us make an M, and I want to see the M pattern dump to the downside. Right now, I am seeing that M pattern. Let me just delete everything, and we'll look at it again fresh. But that's an M to me. It's below the 200 moving average. I'd look for this to make a bear flag here, something like this, and then to continue down the bear flag to the downside. That's going to be good if Bitcoin goes on a rip. That's going to be very, very good for, you know what I mean? That's going to be awesome. So if Bitcoin decides it's going to dump, it's going to rip, tether dominance is going to drop drastically. We take a look at it on the daily, and it looking a little overbought and curving down too. Again, there's a chance it makes, you know, your bullish scenario, because I always look at both ways, is somehow it bounces here. Bitcoin takes a dump, and then we make a head and shoulder, right? If that, and by next week, you know, that's going to take some time because that's into June and May. So that's, you know, we're looking at the daily now. But, you know, a week from now, it's going to be about May 1st, right? Yeah, or yeah, you know, May, it'll be the 30th, right? And so I want to see us lower, headed to the 200 moving average. I want to see us, you know, retesting these areas like this kind of support that we had right there and dropping lower. See, this is an M. I want to see the M pattern take us lower. If we bounce up and start doing this, we got to think that Bitcoin is consolidating and didn't get the pump. But right now, it's okay. It does look like it could follow suit with tether dominance. Let's move on to the DXY and see what's up with the DXY, which is the dollar. The dollar was struggling. It came down, but it does show signs of a shoulder, head, right shoulder there. But to me, it's in chop. I want to see it just chop around for a while, and then it looks to me somewhere by September, it's going to take a bigger dump. And that's when we'll probably get a really big rate cut. Like we'll kind of small. I bet Kevin Warsh won't cut the rates the first time because he doesn't want to look like a pawn. So he might not cut the rates the first time to make it, you know, then he's going to cut rates the second time. That's going to lead us into September and October. So we could see DXY sideways, hold, and then the big drop comes later on as we get the massive rally. It does suggest we get a drop in November, October, and that's going to only help propel a stock market and a Bitcoin rally, right? So that's pretty interesting. Let's jump on into gold for a split second and just see what's happening to gold. Last time I talked about gold, I said I see it bouncing and hanging out, eventually making some type of like channel here where it gets tighter over time. Let me just delete everything and just look at it fresh. But so far, I did see that flag. Gold kind of started. It didn't go huge. Gold got bought up a lot by central banks in times of heavy stress. But now it seems like things are more in control. The ceasefire in Iran is kind of, everything for now has seemed to kind of boil down a little bit. It was getting a little more heated for a while. Now it seems like things are just kind of hanging out. I still see this going tight, right? And then eventually breaking out. Like if they print money, which they are going to, they've done it over history on multiple societies, then I don't see how this thing can't make a pump, right? So I'm still bullish on gold, but I see sideways price action. Let's take a look at silver. Same thing for silver, but wow, silver looks like it could roll over there, right? Shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then take a dump. Funny, silver gives a little more bearish insight there, but it is holding this key level. And to me, it's kind of the same story. You could even say silver's in a tighter channel that may break out. Silver has a little more pressure on it. It's a little smaller, It's used in multiple applications as gold, but it's used a lot. It's a little cheaper and used in applications. I still see the same idea though, like, right? Sideways price action, and somewhere in May, it's just telling me the end of May that there's going to be a bigger pump for silver and gold, which maybe that's when like we get some more action in Iran or something, but it is staying sideways. Someone say, isn't that a shoulder, head, right shoulder? Isn't that going to dump hard? I'm not saying it can't, but I like to, if this daily candle holds, we get more consolidation. So just in the next week till I come live again and do this update, I see us going sideways for silver. The S&P futures, which we called out for you last week. I don't know if you remember on the show, but here I am last week. It was the S&P and the NASDAQ, and I'm showing you right there that the NASDAQ is going to flag out and likely pump. That was my prediction, and that's basically what we're seeing. Here I am again. Let's just take a look at what I said for the S&P. So it's good to see this each week. See what I said each week and come back to it, right? So you can see the S&P. I'm looking for the flag. I see us getting tight. And then here you see we had that huge pump. We broke out. Let me see if I get to the smaller time frame here. And there I am in the S&P telling you we're about to make a flag and break out. Just like the NASDAQ, right? They look exactly identical. I did the same projection because they go hand in hand. So I drew this, I never touched it. I drew it and never touched it. It actually filled the entire thing and then began to break out. I see the S&P and the NASDAQ headed higher as they continue to print money and they continue to send stocks further to the upside. You also have the Fed, which is doing more than they did before. They were quantitative easing. They're back to, tightening. They're back to easing again. They're back to putting money back into circulation, repo bank behind the scenes. So the Fed, man, up to $40 to $50 billion being injected a month here. And that, to me, is only going to end up pushing stocks higher over time. Kevin Warsh is against, expanding the balance sheet. He's more into the rate. Like, he thinks we should use the rate more than the balance sheet. Let's see how that changes as we go into the future. Thank you so much for watching. That's the macro technical analysis video. It kind of gives you a whole idea of what's happening on the bigger picture for Bitcoin, for the S&P futures, for gold, for silver, for the DXY, and even the dominance levels. Where's money flowing? Is it flowing into Tether? Is it flowing into Bitcoin? Is it flowing into altcoins? You can see most of the money is flowing out of Tether, is flowing into Bitcoin right now, not into altcoins. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this type of TA, I go live every single day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. I also do an impromptu live stream on the morning, Saturday and Sunday. That's 4 live streams on the weekend. It'll blow your mind. Check me out. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.